Hi, I'm Francois Krieger and this is my wife, Melissa Krieger. We live here in the forest with our two children, and the forest is located inland of Gansbaai on the road to Baatskietersbos. I've been working with trees all my professional life. I started in forestry in Germany in the 1980s and I've worked as a tree surgeon for the last 20 years in Cape Town. Melissa's a horticulturalist and she's in charge of our nursery and propagating trees here. And one would not expect to find forest in a frequently burning region like this. We're not in a kloof. This is a gentle north-facing slope with an ancient forest on it. Trees, some of the specimen trees here are over 1,000 years old. It was only in 2006, when 35,000 hectares burnt around us, that we started to realize what a special place this is, and not only that, but how vulnerable it is to fire as well. This is the start of the Platbos Forest Trail, which takes you through the old forest. It's open to the public. School groups come here as part of our educational outreach program, and we take them on guided tours to try and acquaint people with forest and let them understand what makes forest so special. So Platbos is within quite an arid area, and here in the Western Cape only 0.05% of our land surface is covered by forest. And this, being Africa's southernmost forest, is perhaps the most marginal of all environments. It has a unique species composition that is not found anywhere else. We then started to explore, and what we thought was edge thicket on the south side turned out to be something completely different. It turned out to be the regrowth forest where the forest had been felled for potatoes. And what we thought was the edge directly south of us was not the edge. The true edge we discovered about 400-500 meters further south. We realized we would have to purchase that land to bring it under the control of the Platbos Conservation Trust and set about rehabilitating it so that one day it has the potential to revert to this. The forest is incredibly slow growing. This old milkwood here we estimate to be between 800 and 1,000 years old. The estimate is based on comparison to the post office trees, which were clearly significant trees before 1650, and none of them actually compare with the girth on this old tree. It is so old that it's no longer putting on annual rings, it's putting on ribbing tissue. And inside these hollows live a myriad of creatures. Inside the trunk is this rotten tissue where many small invertebrates are living. And here is roots of the same tree growing through its own corpse. It's an example of asexual propagation, which is the adaptation this forest has had to make to the dry conditions where seedlings can no longer prosper. So it roots through itself, creating new tissue from the old.
Here at the Platbos Tree Nursery, we propagate the main tree species of the forest. We harvest the seedlings from the forest floor. This is important for the reforestation project because we need to maintain the genetic integrity of the forest. In addition, they've found that the older the trees are, the more genetically superior the tree seedlings are. This is why it's really important, this old ancient stock of the forest, that we're getting really healthy and genetically superior seedlings that we can then use for our reforestation project. The seedlings will be here for about a year until they are ready to go out into the main part of the nursery. This is the second stage of the propagation of the trees. They've moved now out of the shaded area out into the sun. These are around about a year or so old, and next winter they'll be ready for getting planted out in the reforestation area. The white stinkwood, Celtis africana, this is about a 3-year tree sapling, and it's now ready for reforestation. It's ready to be planted out. Here we are at one of the Platbos reforestation sites. This area of ground was once forest. Planted up here are trees grown on at the forest nursery. So it's a collection of trees endemic to the forest. We planted them densely together so as to recreate forest conditions as soon as possible. This winter the Platbos Conservation Trust has planted out over 13,500 trees in and around Platbos. And coming up for next winter we require further funding so that we carry on with our tree planting initiatives. The white stinkwood, Saltus africana. This is, I think, the largest and oldest specimen at Platbos Forest. What's interesting about the white stinkwoods here is that you'll see the trunks are squat and almost have a baobab-like feel. They're quite different from where you'll find them elsewhere. And it has to do with the slow-growing, dry nature of this ancient forest. This is the Platbos Forest tented accommodation. Being 2 hours away from Cape Town, we need to have facilities for the tree appreciation and the school education camps that we offer.
To be able to walk from an ancient tree like this, and in a few short steps, to be confronted with this, which is Australia, shows you that something is seriously wrong here. This sharp edge of the forest is an unnatural thing. Forest edge should gradually come down to an ecotone, a transitional stage, before it reaches fynbos. What has happened here is that this forest has been pushed back. It's been destroyed by fire. And the creation of a firebreak along the boundary of this new land is one of the primary objectives of the Platbos Trust. It's a 2.5 kilometer long forest edge that is infested with aliens every inch of the way. This, more than anything else, is a threat to the forest. This is myrtle, Australian myrtle, and rooikrans, an Australian acacia. And these two burn fiercely with a fire. And the last time it burnt here, they burnt right across here. And you can see this Saltus africana, this white stinkwood caught alight. Its trunk smoldered away for days. The tree miraculously survived that. The impacts on the edge cannot be understated. The forest edge is the essence of the forest's integrity. Once the edge is fragmented, the fire can get in. Now, at some point there was a rooikrans tree growing in here, and the people who cut that rooikrans tree had to cut a way in. So they cut away here at these lower limbs that then become suppressed, they become dead, they become tinder. And this hole that's made in the forest edge here, this gaping chasm, becomes like the front of your fireplace, a chimney effect. The draft comes in, the fire can go in and destroy the forest. So in order to restore the edge, the alien invasives need to be removed and kept out. The firebreak must be created and maintained in perpetuity. These trees can be cut with a borsieslander, a mowing arm, or they can be chainsawed, and the follow-up was needed for the next 10-20 years until the seed bank is finally gone. Without this sort of intervention, this forest is gone. The last fire we had here severely damaged this old olive tree. It burnt its branches all on the one side, and it has survived and resprouted, but was then again completely encroached upon by aliens, meaning that the next fire would have undoubtedly have killed it. But now we have started dealing with the aliens. Here's a pile of mulch processed from the rooikrans, and in this way we hope to, by clearing around and reforesting with indigenous trees, we hope to get on top of this problem and make sure that the next fire that comes here does not penetrate these young forests. The advantage of the cut and chip method of alien clearing is that you create a resource from what was previously a problem. These piles of chip are left here for a couple of years to compost, and then they are used for the potting mixes for the reforestation trees. It also means that one does not have to burn the brush piles, which stimulates the alien seed bank to germinate further. So by cutting and chipping and then reforesting, which cools the soil, you come up with a lasting solution to alien infestations while promoting the biodiversity of the forest. Our single biggest problem is, now that we've bought this machine, is the filling of the tank and the paying of the labor. This is an ongoing task. There are many hectares here to clear, and as we clear, so nature will reforest, and where necessary we will assist it. But it is for this that we are needing funding. And if it is in any way possible to help with such a project, I can't think of anything more rewarding for a company to do.
I'm Gustav Krieger and I'm 8 turning 9. I love this forest a lot, and I'd be very sad if this forest were to burn down.
Hello, I am Ayanda Krieger and I'm 12 years old, and I just want to tell you it's very important to live by this thought, and that is that it's very cool to be an eco-warrior.
These indigenous forests do not readily burn, but given the gradual warming and drying of our climate over the last centuries and the introduction of the alien invasive plants that burn readily, and the disturbances to the edge by firewood cutters, you have a combination of factors that will, I believe, if we do not do extensive rehabilitation and preservation work, lead to the loss of these forests within my lifetime.
The Plattbos Conservation Trust was created to preserve this old-growth forest and to rehabilitate and to reforest the surrounding areas. The creation of local employment opportunities goes hand in hand with this vision. The Plattbos Conservation Trust is registered as a not-for-profit organisation with SARS, and we invite individuals and corporations to invest in and support this vision, and so to ensure the survival of this national treasure.